If ever the world became a global village, it was last September 11th, when hundreds of millions of people around the world saw and heard the attacks on the World Trade Center. But the very technology that made that the most communicated and most witnessed event in history has also contributed to what some are calling the big lie. It turns out an overwhelming majority of people in the Muslim world, according to a Gallup poll, say they do not believe the attacks of 9/11 were orchestrated by Osama bin Laden or by Arabs or by Muslims. Many believe instead, they say, that the whole thing was a conspiracy orchestrated by Jews. Where did they hear that? And how pervasive is the belief in the big lie? We found out when we visited a wedding party in a small town in Pakistan. Americans are rarely seen in places like this these days, but our guide, Khalid Khwaja, grew up here, and CBS reporter George Cryle accepted an invitation to join him at this wedding party. All the town's leading citizens were there. The mayor, the pediatrician, a chemical engineer, a businessman, a journalist. And not one of them had anything friendly to say about America.
We love Osama much, and we hate Americans.
People hate America. Yeah, that's true.
Such statements have come almost to be expected in the Islamic world. But what came next caught reporter Cryle completely by surprise.
Do you think Osama can do all what he did?
No,
what happened with America on 11th September?
Dr. Saab, it's all
No.
rubbish, pack of lies.
Who do you think did it?
They know it.
Israel. After.
It's the Jews.
Jews
and the CIA
after it.
itself. You know that 4,000 Jewish people didn't go to the WTC. Why didn't they go? You tell me.
But your conviction is that the attack on the World Trade Center was a Jewish
all
conspiracy?
fabricated
It
by
is.
this lobby.
They are in it.
Yeah.
The Jews did it. That's exactly what they are saying. The mayor, the businessman, the journalist, the baby doctor,
Yeah.
everyone.
Now, who else here thinks that it might have been a
Everybody thinks.
do you believe that?
Definitely.
Do you think
Why
it
did
was
they go? You tell me.
a Jewish or
Yes, yes,
Israeli
They control
conspiracy?
American
yes, yes.
president. They
Israel and
control
Jews were
American
behind that
policies.
incident.
They control
Osama
everything.
is
Don't you say
totally
it on
innocent.
media.
Totally innocent? It sounds incredible. The idea that Osama bin Laden had nothing to do with the World Trade Center attacks. But as the Gallup poll later confirmed, that's exactly what most Muslims believe.
I was surprised that very few, even among the elites, suspected that bin Laden did it.
Dr. Shibli Tilhami is the man Gallup commissioned to analyze the findings of its survey. Help me understand what's most important about the results of the polls.
It is clear that there's almost a unanimous view that bin Laden was not responsible for 9/11. And that actually comes as a shock to Americans given the evidence that is obviously out there. How could this be?
It is a perplexing question. In this information age, it may be that the September 11th attack was viewed by more people than any event in history. And there was every reason to believe and hope that a consensus would have formed around the world about what happened and who was responsible. Mass murder had been committed, and the pictures of the 19 militant Muslim hijackers were in all the papers. Here in America, there's never been any doubt about who was ultimately responsible.
Osama bin Laden.
But, as pollster Tilhami explains it, when the president talks, most Muslims simply don't listen.
People say, yes, you're giving me evidence, but frankly, I don't trust the system. I don't trust the messenger. I don't trust the message. I just don't believe.
But what is widely believed across the Muslim world is the story we heard of the Jewish conspiracy,
Yes.
in which 4,000 Jewish employees at the World Trade Center were warned to stay home.
That's correct. Yes, according to our papers.
You couldn't even get a bad movie put out with a science fiction storyline like this, but yet that one caught on very quickly throughout that part of the world.
CBS News consultant Milt Bearden ran the CIA's Afghan war against the Soviets in the 1980s. Today, Bearden worries that America faces a whole new kind of threat that it doesn't yet understand.
This current war that we're in now is the first war in the information era. Information, disinformation, and misinformation.
Bearden says the story of the 4,000 Jews represents a dangerous new level of disinformation. There's always been a belief in the so-called, quote, Jewish conspiracy in the world of Islam. But it seems now to have just taken off and gone into the almost unbelievable stratosphere.
That's right.
And its roots are still going down.
It's down. The roots have been set.
How this myth of the 4,000 Jews became reality in the minds of Muslims around the world is a cautionary tale from the dark side of the information age. It began on September 13th in Jordan, when rumors of Israeli involvement in 9/11 surfaced as news stories in 2 Arab papers. The next day, a crucial element was added, the figure 4,000. That was the number of telephone calls an Israeli ambassador told reporters had come into his government from worried Israelis unable to contact their relatives in New York. Then, on September 17th, in Beirut, Al-Manar, a television station controlled by the radical Islamic group Hezbollah, aired the full fantasy for the first time. Billed as a special investigative report, Al-Manar claimed that 4,000 Israelis employed at the World Trade Center had not shown up for work on September 11th. The next morning, this tale hit the internet and began moving from one Islamic website to the next. In the days and weeks that followed, the story spread like wildfire all across the Muslim world, surfacing in newspapers, radio and TV reports, and talk shows in Iran, Egypt, Pakistan, and beyond. In just a matter of days, one falsehood piled on top of another and passed on to audiences around the globe had produced the big lie, a lie now accepted as fact throughout the Muslim world.
We do think that they were not there. None of the Jews were killed there.
That all of the Jews who worked at the World Trade Center
Yes,
were not there.
they were not there.
I think most Americans say that's ludicrous. And if these, quote, crazy people want to believe that, well, there's not much can be done about it.
Well, that's right. That's the way Americans go at it. We say, well, let them believe what they like, sticks and stones. Well, guess what? That doesn't work anymore. We've got to come to deal with that.
And Milt Bearden reminded us of an incident to demonstrate how quickly lies can spread to violence. Islamabad, Pakistan, 1979. At Friday prayers, a mullah told a fantastic tale of American and Israeli soldiers marching on the holy city of Mecca. Within minutes, thousands of Pakistanis headed for the U.S. Embassy and onto newscasts around the world.
The invaders ran shooting through the corridors, took over the roof, and set fires, reportedly with Molotov cocktails.
And a lot of Americans barely escaped through a hatch onto the roof. Otherwise, it would have been an even greater disaster. And that is just simply the information thing going crazy.
2 Americans and 2 Pakistani employees were killed. The embassy burned to the ground, and all because of a rumor. There was absolutely nothing to it.
No, there was just nothing there. It was just absolutely, not even the big lie usually has something somewhere. This had nothing.
The point here is that in 1979 in Islamabad, it spread like the proverbial prairie fire, but on a somewhat limited basis.
That's right.
In and around Islamabad. And your point is now, when that sort of spark goes out, it reaches 1 billion people or plus.
The world is connected. 1979 was still sort of a steam-driven world. And now, so anything that goes on in the information world is instantaneous.
Were we too slow off the mark?
Well, none of us were planning on a war September 10th.
Undersecretary of State Charlotte Beers is in charge of promoting America's image abroad. A successful Madison Avenue advertising executive, Beers was recruited by the Bush administration to use her skills to sell America. Are you taking your own poll on the Arab world?
We do a lot of internal polls. They're not necessarily published, but we have an ongoing recognition of how moods and feelings as well as opinions are in the
Well, if
say,
your
for
polls
instance, the Middle
reflect
East.
anything close to what the Gallup poll,
They are close.
imagine that I'm a person at a Pakistani wedding party, and I'm absolutely convinced bin Laden didn't do it, no Muslim did it, the Jews did it, Israel did it, Israeli intelligence did it. You say what?
I would like to make available to you all the data and the information that we have. Let me refer you to our website. Here's this booklet we just produced, which will help you follow the complete activities of the hijackers, their relationship to bin Laden. Let me show you the very words bin Laden himself has used to talk about his role.
Undersecretary Beers was outlining the Bush administration's strategy for countering disinformation. The centerpiece of that effort was this glossy, four-color booklet. It was published 2 months after the attack. It spells out the evidence of who was behind September 11th. The State Department printed 1.3 million copies.
The embassies took this piece, and it became the most widely published document we ever put out in the State Department.
But what about the power to persuade? It hasn't worked.
Well, we're dealing with a large, tumultuous environment right now. And I will grant you that we probably did not get that booklet in as many hands as we wish. The literacy rate in some of these countries is very low, and we have to communicate on a different level.
Can we turn this around?
I am spending every hour that I have, and I am surrounded by an amazingly devoted and talented group who say we must turn it around.
That problem will be the subject of an unprecedented State Department conference that opens tomorrow. In 2 days of closed sessions, 50 U.S. officials will hear from 20 experts on the spread of anti-American attitudes, not just in the Muslim world, but in Europe and Russia as well.